Da 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 da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes to get those notifications out. In the meantime, if you've never popped into one of my lives before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside, and I hope you can settle into our content. It is always my intent to connect with people along the way, to find similarities, to find people, well, that we can relate to in all honesty, right? Because, being highly sensitive, being empathic, right? We can be a little bit of a minefield when it comes to being able to make those, what it's not hard for us to make connections, is it? Right? Because being highly sensitive and being empathic, we can connect well to people. But I think at the same time, it's our hesitancy, and we know as humans how highly sensitive we are to other people's intent. There you go. Other people's intent. And that those are our trust issues, right? Those are having our boundaries crossed all the time. It's our little bit of hesitancy in that connection that we're hoping to make. We're always hoping to make a connection, but sometimes, well, quite often, right, we'll travel down that path a little while. And that's why you hear me saying all the time, maybe we'll travel down this path for a little while. Maybe we'll travel down this path for years. Maybe we'll travel together for our entire lives. Maybe we'll travel paths for lifetimes now again, right? Wouldn't that be amazing, right? That we're able to connect in this digital age. This digital age is something very, very special, right? It's almost like an eclipse in a lifetime. You know what I mean? Something that comes along once in a lifetime. Even the possibility that it happened, right, seems a little bit miraculous for me at the end in any case, right? Because it could have easily been a different story just by making one different choice, right? But I decided to come along in this digital age, and it has offered up opportunities, and it has offered up much needed, much appreciated, right? More than I can even express in the healing it has done for my life. If nothing else in this lifetime, to be able to overcome, right? And I think after 4 years that I can safely and again hesitantly toot my own horn, right? To have that one miracle come out of all of this, like all of this, it was so much, but just that one miracle made all of it worthwhile. And if I don't get one more thing out of any of this, that was enough. And that's a truth. It saved my life, this digital age. My brand saved my life. And it's a little embarrassing to say, but at the same time, right? I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm going to be grateful, right? More than grateful. So today, anyway, we got this word, right? And I thought with this 24th word of enthusiasm that we got, it's a great word. It's a word that makes the movement, joyful, fun, at the very least, bearable, right? That enthusiasm for what's coming next, that enthusiasm for the movement, that enthusiasm for the possibilities. And if you're anything like me, the enthusiasm for the accomplishment. That's my kick out of it, right? Is accomplishing and achieving and being able to see that evidence for myself is just another good, just another gift. We take for granted these things that come into our lives, these things that we learn from, right? That evolution, but we take evolution as a given. And if anything, I've learned anything in these half a dozen years is the fact that this world is so much bigger than I possibly could have ever imagined. I couldn't have imagined, right? I these topics, these conversations, these goals that I make, these understandings about myself and these understandings about others, these are not things that would have come across my path half a dozen years ago. And it's only in that putting my one foot in front of the other, right? It was keeping myself in place to take in a lesson. It was accomplishing, right? Remember what I said, that enthusiasm comes from that feeling of accomplishment. And that was my feed. That was my stick with the bag at the end. Of course, I always made rewards. I'm somebody who needs to be, right? I need to be enticed, right? Do this, you get this, finish this, we'll do this, right? Right? And it's again unfortunate, but again, it's part of my programming. And so if I can accept some of that programming, that would just be right. I'm putting in the effort to make those changes, but I am also prioritizing, right? And I find that if I can leave some things in place and not hyper vigilant and over focus on them, that I can make a little bit of movement in other ways that I have the capability, the knowledge, the experience now, right? Or I have that desire and that understanding and that capability, right? So yeah, so when we are going to look today at enthusiasm, I thought today that I would take a look at that main feed in my life, right? That enthusiasm of the beauty of this world, and that's my connection to nature, my connection to the organic, the connection to being human, right? Just like where is it? It is my desk crystal. It's always on my desk, right? This is organic. This is a crystal I dug out of the ground. It's an amethyst. It's my dragon amethyst, right? Doesn't it look like a dragon here with the tail going on? This is billions and billions of years old, right? It's a rock, but at the same time it being a rock, it's a part of this world. It's organic, right? There's my connection to this. Knowing at one time, right? If you believe in evolution, if you could, right? How can you deny evolution? Evolution is a science. It's gone beyond a myth, isn't it? It has become fact. It's become one for the books, isn't it? It's part of us now, and right? So now we have to accommodate that. We have to accommodate the truth. You can't deny the truth. And it's going to be interesting to see, right? Because lots of things have not even been brought to the surface yet, even though they've been worked on and studied for decades now, right? That information is just going to start to come to the surface, and especially, right, that now this idea of the organic, the psyche, and the social coming together. And I see it all around us. I see it. It's not even like oil and vinegar now. It's all blended in. It's like they put it on one of those machines, and they're grinding up a nice frothy drink. It's all blending so well, right? And how it tastes, right? And the strength of the ingredients, each ingredient, right, is well, dependent on that recipe, isn't it? Right? And my my enthusiasm, it comes with that connection to being human, right? And I understand, right? I do understand that there's something greater than me running the show. I get it. I feel it. I experience it. And I see the evidence, not just in my life, well, but in the lives of the people that I surround myself with also. And also in that that answering of all those questions that I've had all my life, those very human questions, right? Being able to accept some things that I didn't even know existed, right? I was totally blank to them. Were the prerequisites, right? For the oncoming lessons, because you could have given me this information and I would have just said phooey. I would not have believed it. I might have been polite and sat and listened to it, because I am a true believer. It takes all kinds to make the world. I had to do this in baby steps, but I recognized it. I, re- I recognized it and I knew it. I knew the direction I was heading in. I was enthusiastic for that, but also in my cautiousness, in my hypervigilance, I couldn't do it, and I couldn't do it in any other way except in those baby steps. And again, that's unfortunate, but we everybody makes missteps in this. And when I say, um, you have to bring along a lot of forgiveness, right? When you're making that movement, because we do recognize that we've made some missteps, right? And a lot of those missteps is because we've surrounded ourselves and we've given up ourselves and we've trusted ourselves, right? And that's why that hypervigilance is there. That's right. Also, the lack of trust and that worry of being neglected or rejected, right? Or taken advantage of. Like, we have to be cautious that way. But how can you have all of those, right? Because those are, right? But who wants to spend their lives like that? Nobody does, but we do it, right? We do it because it's just part of our nature, and part of what we're doing here right now is to resolve some of that nature, right? Some of that nature, but that's all that it is. It's just nature. And that's been clinging to us for thousands of years, maybe hundreds of thousands of years, maybe millions, maybe millions, maybe millions of years, right? So why do we expect that they're going to be overcome in a moment? I believe in miracles. Call them miracles, right? The dazzle and amaze. That's what I usually call it, the dazzle and amaze. Those things that are just like, I just can't believe what I'm seeing. But I'm seeing it. I'm experiencing it, right? I have always had a connection with Mother Nature, but that connection was built out of need, right? And I had a lot of enthusiasm, right? I was a feral child, right? My parents had four girls. We were all left to our own demise. Being the oldest kid, maybe I might have been stuck with the babysitting and stuff, but I would have to say 99% of the time I had no ideas what my sisters were doing. No idea because I was doing my own thing. I was having my own experiences, right? But my connection with Mother Nature was built out of, right, those traumas, those trying to find a space, an alone space for myself. I have very much an appreciation for time on my own because it's safe. It's where I don't have to be. Like, remember what I said? Who wants to live like that? So I don't live like that. But I live another way to accommodate so I don't have to live like that. Right? So I make my life comfortable in my own safe space, right? Where I don't have to be hyper vigilant. I don't have to answer the door. I don't, right? When I say my safe space, that's even the people that I'm surrounding myself. I don't have my family phoning me every 5 minutes. I don't have friends hounding me, right? Even in the moment, I don't even have clients. I am all on my own. And, right, I did that. I created that. I could have created something else, right? I could have created something else, but this is how I created it. Why? So I can get done what I need to get done. And I'm very enthusiastic about what I'm doing. I understand, right? There's something bigger in all of this, right? But I am uh, a human, right? I am here bumbling along just like everybody else. And I'm enthusiastic for what's coming, but at the same time, a little bit cautious, a little bit hypervigilant. And so I'm going to just do this in baby steps, and I'm allowed to do that because I'm creating this movement, right? It's my own plan. It's my own plan. And as long as I see that movement, as long as I see that evidence, as long as I'm comfortable in it, we're going to keep moving this way. And there will be uncomfortable moments. There's uncomfortable moments all the time, right? All the time, but they're easier to digest because I've eliminated, right? Some of those phone calls, some of the interruptions, right? Some of those other aspects of my life that might take me away. But I have my connection to nature in this moment, right? It's not forever. And I give myself what I need, right? So if I needed to go outside and go for an evening walk, I would. If I said this is it, I've been two in my head. I can't take 5 minutes or more. This is okay, right? Let's get into planning our trip, and then I'll get enthusiastic about that for a little while, right? Until I get that feeling. And it's a great to have those things that you can bounce from one interest to another interest, because being highly sensitives and being empathics, right? We're also a little bit ADHD, that we do a lot of bouncing. But I don't want to bounce into nothingness. I don't want to bounce into coping mechanisms. I don't want to bounce into old ways, right? So I bounce into other interests, something different, something that I can be enthusiastic about for a little while, until I get those same feelings of what I've just come out of. And maybe I've got more enthusiasm to get back to it. I've had a little bit of a break from that. I'm ready to go back to it. Right? Or like I said, maybe I've just had so much, I said, okay, right, time to plan that trip. And I plan that trip. And maybe I even need to take that trip right away. I don't know, right? Because I'm doing baby steps, and I'm reading each moment, literally reading each moment to the next, to see, what's a good move, what's a good plan. I made a little bit of plans this weekend. It was a big weekend in my head. Grateful to be back to my job tomorrow, right? To be able to ground a little bit in something that can, right? That I can get myself busy in, and at the same time get busy in, right? I can make some plans because I have a clearer picture of what I would like to give a shot at, right? We'll discuss it a little bit more in the next few weeks. Let's just give Cindy a little bit of time on her own to feel it out and to settle into it, and then right, we'll talk about it. Right? And it'll be an amazing conversation, or it'll be a fess up, because it was something that I was optimistic for, that I was enthusiastic for, but whether or not I had the gumption for it, well, right? I don't know. I don't know until I give it a fair shot. So the fair shot is what I'm giving it, right? So there is a short plan, only because in the lessons, because we got enthusiasm, because I feel that need for not necessarily to connect with Mother Nature, but I feel that need to be enthusiastic about something, right? And that means goal setting. For the most part, that means those feelings that mean the most to me, right? That enthusiasm in accomplishing. So we're going to find something that's going to allow me to take in a few of those feelings and actually see and feel the dazzle and amaze, and experience and visualize, like literally visualize the evidence, right? That I can do it. And again, that's out of accomplishing for me. For everybody else, it's going to be a little bit something different, right? But for me, in all honesty, that's what it is, right? And I think for a lot of highly sensitive, it's an empaths, that feeling of accomplishment is important, right? But I think there are a lot of things that for most empaths and highly sensitives we put as more important, like the approval of others, right? That we'll be all excited and like little puppy dogs when somebody says, good job, or that looks amazing, right? And everybody loves a compliment. I throw them out like popcorn. I truly do. But in the end, it's how we feel about ourselves. And unless we can truly throw a compliment that actually makes somebody, right, have those emotions, then it's only a falsehood, though, right? Wouldn't it? I throw them out quite a bit. It's something that I notice that I do, and I always try to make sure that my compliments are genuine, but at the same time, it is part of my movement, and it is part of that we talked about yesterday, that opening up of a conversation, and that opening stages of making a connection to somebody, right? And it's part of the retail business, and I am in retail. There is a lot of customer service in there, and compliments are part of that, right? I have a lot of enthusiasm for my job, but at the same time, it's just a job. And when my enthusiasm lessens in that job, well, then I'll have lots of other interests to jump into, right? Let's just make sure one of those interests is going to put a roof over my head if I'm going to take the roof over my head off the plate. If that makes any sense, for another conversation, another day. You guys, I am done with my set of days off. I am excited to go back to work. My enthusiasm is going into the job that puts the roof over my head. Grateful to have, right, a few days to ground into, right, just being human, just doing the best that I can, right, and practicing my craft in my day to day, right. Maybe actually even putting one of these lessons that I picked up in the past few days and putting it to use, right? That's a good challenge for me. There were some lessons. There definitely was. Okay, you guys, that's my good cheer. And we'll see each other tomorrow.